Hi guys, welcome back to Heal with Leah. Today we have an exciting topic. I'm talking about healing and healthism, and it's a little bit more of a informative topic and more serious, but I think you're going to like it. So before we get into the video, I'd like to have a little disclaimer. Again, I am not a medical practitioner. I'm not a licensed practitioner. I am not anyone who is in any way qualified to be giving advice or like medical advice. I am just someone who has had an eating disorder and is learning how to recover in the best ways possible and want to share all the information with you. So thank you for coming on this journey with me. So let's get into it. Healthism. Health has kind of become a hobby for a lot of people. And the definition from Reclaiming Body Trust by Hilary Knavy and Dana Sturtevant is that it's an ideology that reinforces the pursuit of health as worthy above all things. And this definition is one that I really like because it shows that the ideology doesn't focus on the other impacts of our health, including the impact of poverty, oppression, violence, luck, abuse, and our environment on our health. And being healthy has become more of a status than a condition, right? We're looking at what other people look like, and if they look healthy, then we see them as, kind of morally superior to those who are not as healthy. So people are really obsessed with wellness culture and trying to do everything in their power to make their health be as good as it can be and live as long of a life as possible. And that is great. And some people really do value that much. But other people aren't valuing and seeing lifelong health as such an important thing. Like, it is not just something that we can attain because it's not always in our own hands, right? So we've seen so many fad diets come and go, the 20th century and into the 21st century. But now it's kind of turned into more of a like clean eating, I'm eating clean, or I'm doing a health cleanse to heal my gut, right? It's those buzzwords that people are using to make it seem like it's not a diet, but it really is under the surface. It's just another way to say diet, right? So diet culture is built on perfectionism and is very black and white because people are often expected to follow the rules to a T. And if they make any mistakes, then they feel like they've failed on their diet and therefore they just give up. And then eventually diet culture kicks in again and they're like, okay, I need to start this again. I'm going to try it again and I'm going to do a different diet this time that I think will work better. And also when you mess up, there's all this flood of thoughts that come in that say, oh, you're going to gain weight. You're going to gain weight. If you did this wrong, if you didn't eat exactly how you were supposed to, you're going to gain weight. And that's like the worst thing that could be because it's giving this such an unnatural obsession with maintaining our weight or losing weight and an unhealthy fear of gaining weight. And then when you don't succeed in the diet, it's not the diet's fault, right? It's your fault. You didn't try hard enough. You lacked willpower. You lacked competence. You lacked in discipline. You were lazy, you just fell off and you just got to try again. And maybe a new diet this time will help you succeed in that. And that just feeds into capitalism, right? Well, the only thing that benefits from you trying diet after diet after diet is the diet industry and capitalism. And then we see that people who are able to restrain themselves and who are successful in losing weight and succeeding in that diet are seen as morally superior to those who cannot. And they're held on a pedestal, right? We praise people who lose a lot of weight because we're like, how did you do that? And can you teach me? And everyone just wants to know the secret to losing weight when there is no secret. You don't need to lose weight. And I'm not going to go into, maybe there are some people who do want to lose weight for healthy reasons, but there's a lot of people out there who want to lose weight who really don't need to. Diet culture and healthism also say that a long life is the be all and end all, and that we have control over lifelong health. And this is absolutely ableist, because people don't have control over their health, right? Like, you don't have complete control. Some things are genetic. Some things are just going to happen and like an accident. And some things are just laid out for us in our life, and we can't control it. We don't know what's going to happen. So I think it stems from control, right? People just want control over their bodies, over their health, when that in reality, you don't have complete control. You never will. We can also see that it's ableist in the sense, or fat phobic in the sense, that we see that this detrimental obsession with bodies and thinking that a person who looks healthy or looks thin or is able-bodied, they are healthy no matter what. But if they're bigger in the larger body or they're disabled, then they're not healthy, right? So aesthetics have been equated with health now. So if you're lean, if you're muscular, or if you lose a lot of weight, you're just seen as someone who's healthy, right? Even if you lost that weight in a detrimental way, even if you lost that weight because you were grieving, right? Or depressed, people compliment you, and that doesn't feel good, right? So I really think we should stop complimenting weight loss unless you know for sure that the person was trying to lose weight and they did it in a healthy way. But you also don't want to praise them for how good they look. We don't want to focus on the looks. We want to focus on how they feel and the determination that does go into losing weight. So that's just a side note. Anyway, these ideas and these ideals of health are very ableist because it's black and white, right? We think that either you're sick or you're healthy. And if you have a disabled person, they're seen as sick and they're seen as someone who can't be healthy for the most part. Or if you see a person who is able-bodied and they're young and they're thin, you assume they're healthy. So, and then there's no middle ground, right? Just because you're disabled doesn't mean you're not healthy. And they also believe that no one would want to live in a disabled body or in a sick, mentally ill mind, right? But there are so many people who do, and who are possibly healthier than those who are living in a normal body, right? This is also fat phobic and anti-fat biased because fat is seen as unhealthy. And society believes that because we have complete control over our weight and our health, if we're not prioritizing our health and not trying to lose weight, then we're seen as not worthy or less morally good because they're staying fat on purpose, right? They're choosing to be fat if they're not trying to lose weight. And then they think they're not mentally disciplined enough or strong to lose the weight, and it's their fault. And they just need to get tougher skin, right? And it's also racist because different races have different body compositions, which lead them to be naturally heavier or lighter. And Black people tend to be naturally heavier because of higher bone density and different body compositions. And they're seen as less healthy than white people who are on average thinner, I guess, because the thin and white bodies are the ideal. So there's so much bias in the research of bodies and weight in general because we use the BMI still, right? The body mass index. And that was made only looking at white people and then extrapolated to everyone else. It's coming from a very privileged point of view. It's also classist because people in poverty don't have access a lot of times to organic food, to fitness classes, or the time that they need to prioritize their health. So the people who are in poverty or who are poorer and don't have as much time or money to focus on their health, they're also seen as less morally superior to people, and they're lower on the totem pole, in the hierarchy of bodies. And you're rich and you're white and you're thin, you're automatically healthy. So there's a lot of intersectionality at play here, because what if you were Black and you were also a woman and you're also in a larger body and you're also disabled, right? So there's a lot of different things at play, because we have classism, we have racism, we have sexism, we have ableism, we have fat phobia. Like, it's all so complicated. I encourage you to look at your privileges and see where your body fits in the body hierarchy, and then try to understand what barriers you have to heal, right? Because there's going to be barriers at play in trying to be healthy and healing. So, and I don't want you to think that this is your fault for feeling this way or believing in health as the most important thing, because that's what we've been taught. And I believe that up until I read the book Reclaiming Body Trust. And that's why I want to share this information, because most of us do see health as the most important part of our lives, when it really doesn't have to be. We don't have to put health first. We don't have to do everything in align with our health goals. We can do things for pleasure. We can do things just because. We can just be, right? And you're not a bad person if you don't prioritize your health. You don't owe anyone your health. No one, people who comment on other people's bodies and trying to shame them into losing weight, that does not work. Because most people who are larger bodies, not most people, but a lot of them may have eating disorders, like binge eating disorder. And that just, telling people to lose weight just does not equate to weight loss. It just does not. It's all coming down to what we can do about this, right? So what can we do? I very highly encourage you to work with a therapist, an eating disorder recovery coach, or an anti-diet dietitian or nutritionist who has the same values as you in terms of health and healing, because we can challenge your own biases, right? So ask yourself if you view all people in smaller bodies as healthy and all those in larger bodies as unhealthy. And then you can look at where this belief came from. Did it come from society? Did it come from parents? Did it come from the media? And understand that there are no good and bad foods. A food does not have moral value. And if we give it moral value, then we think that if we eat the food that's bad, then we are bad. So we need to get rid of those labels on food. And also work with a counselor, therapist, nutritionist, anti-dietitian to redefine what health means to you. And you don't even need to use the word health at all. You could use vitality. You could use nourishment. You could use strong, lively. Look at how you want to feel versus the condition that your body's in, right? And you can also define healing in your own terms too, because a large part of this, when we're going through eating disorder recovery or trying to work on our relationship with our bodies, we are healing. And in order to heal, we want to look at our values, right? And what we value as human beings. And if healing is part of that, if health is part of that, and then try to make actions that are in line with those values. But you don't have to always be in line with your values, right? You don't have to do anything. You can just be. I think is the point I'm trying to make. So, and be compassionate toward yourself during this process, right? Because there is no right way to eat or move your body. There's no right way to look. And, you just want to, I think it's best if we prioritize feeling our best over health, because it's less of a sticky subject. And if we look at how we feel when we do things and we just want to feel good, and I also think it's important to say that you are not required to heal. You don't have to heal if you don't want to. And you can just stay the way you are. You don't owe anyone your health or your healing. And so it's important to, make sure that you get down to these nitty-gritty details with a therapist or with someone who can help you and support you along the way. And also maybe joining a community of people who are going through the same things as you, so you can connect to them and try to understand how they're working through things and see if there's any similarities and all that stuff. So all this is to say that society has just become way too fixated on health, and they associate health with a certain picture perfect ideal. And these health ideals are racist, ableist, classist, fatphobic, sexist in some terms. And my intention is to spread information about how diet culture has done so much harm to so many people because of this, and created this body hierarchy that we need to end and sever from our ideals of bodies, because we've become way too focused on what our appearance is and way too focused on how that is equated with health, and way too obsessed with health in general for the most part. But if you look at yourself and you really think that your values include being as healthy as possible all the time, then that's great. That's perfect. You don't have to change anything. But if it's not in line with your values, then I think there's a problem. And you don't have to do anything, but it can help you heal if you try to learn from those values and try to move forward in your healing and in your health journey, knowing those values and keeping them in your focus, because I think that's the most important thing here, is what you value. Thank you so much for listening to and watching this video. I hope it wasn't too chaotic, and I appreciate all of you watching, and I would like to hear your comments, questions, anything you want to add to the conversation in the comments. And yeah, I think that's it. Subscribe if you like the videos, give it a like if you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.